real treat coming up for you here. The co-founder of the Motley Fool, David Gardner, who founded the company with his brother Tom, had created a brand that is known throughout the world in the arena of finances. These guys are smart, they're interesting, they're quoted all over the place, they've been out there for decades. And we went to their headquarters and had one great interaction with a lot of energy and amazing content with the co-founder, David Gardner. So enjoy this interview. David, thank you so much for inviting us into your home, or your home office, I should say, but it feels very friendly and homey here.
Looking kind of you to say, Patrick. I thank you for suffering fools gladly. You have to really, we're like fools all the time. When actually anybody comes in from the outside world, hangs out with us, they're always raising the caliber here because you're surrounded by a lot of foolishness. So thank you for suffering fools gladly.
It doesn't feel like suffering, but nonetheless, I'm enjoying my experience already. And I just so much I want to talk to you about. I'm like, oh, let's wait till we turn on the cameras to have this conversation. Your story is a great entrepreneurial story. So could you kind of give us the background? Like, how did this whole thing emerge?
Sure. Well, we really just started the Motley Fool as a newsletter for our parents' friends. They were the only ones willing to pay us $48 a year for our advice, and I think they just kind of felt sorry for us. And I had quit my one job that I'd had up until the Motley Fool. I was writing for Louis Rukeyser, who was the longtime host of Wall Street Week on PBS. He had a newsletter, a financial newsletter, published here in Alexandria, Virginia, where we're talking today. And it wasn't a good job, as it turns out. I didn't really get to work with Lou, but what I was doing is I was writing, and I was able to write about things that I thought would be helpful for people in the financial world. So I would write about discount brokers, which 25 years ago was a newer thing, right? The idea that you could make some of the decisions yourself and actually just buy stocks directly for a much lower price through a discount broker. So I'd write that up, and then it would come back edited, and only half of it was what I'd written, and any color or personality was stripped out of it, and the first half was just a dry recitation of what I'd already said, and the second half were all the reasons you wouldn't want to use a discount broker. And from one month to the next, whether it was Quicken, software, or discount brokers, I kept like not being able to advocate for something and always without any color. And so I was out of that job. And so we had to start a newsletter for our parents' friends. But Patrick, from the get-go, we've always loved the stock market. We had a dad who taught us about the stock market. And we started to realize our parents' friends don't know that much about the stock market. And so we thought we had a voice. And by picking a foolish name, a business grew out of that.
How did the name get picked?
So I picked the name. It was from Act 2, Scene 7 of As You Like It. That's Shakespeare's probably greatest single scene about fools and foolishness. You can read all of Shakespeare, which I haven't quite, and I don't think you're going to find a better scene, Act 2, Scene 7 of As You Like It, but it's a nondescript quote, a fool, I see a fool of the forest, a motley fool. There are some other great lines in that scene, like invest me in my motley. There are a lot of good puns for us and what we're doing, but it kind of celebrates a foolish life, which is you're not really with Wall Street.
Right.
You're out, you're in the rural area, you're enjoying the forests, and you come across people who don't take themselves so seriously. And so I thought that's a great viewpoint to be coming from, because we are going to be talking about Wall Street and what we're doing, but we want to make it clear we're not that. We're more Main Street, not Wall Street. And so I love the character of the fool. We're going to screw up a lot. I've made a lot of bad stock picks in my life, so I can at least say ahead of time, hey, at least I told you I was a fool, right? I mean, like, we know, please, we take our work seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And so the name just, it fit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we picked it. It's a crazy thing to take into the financial world.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's really a crazy thing to bring into the financial world. The opposite of the newsletter you were originally writing for, right? Where everything had to be sterile and clean and serious.
That's right.
So the idea was breeding credibility, but you're basically saying, hey, we're being more transparent about the fact that, this is not such a serious game as insofar as you're not Wall Street, you're literally on the other side of that wall, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
And you can have some fun with this.
Yes. And there's also a second aspect to it which helps, and that is that once you start to get into understanding what fools are about, you start to realize they were the only ones who could tell the king or queen the truth back in the Elizabethan courts and back through Renaissance history, right? The fool was there. He or she had license to be a truth teller at court when everybody else couldn't. And so, and how did he or she survive? Well, through humor.
Yeah.
And so there's one part of our brand and our name which is kind of like Dummy's Guide, like Dummy's Guide to Investing kind of thing. And that's what we try to do with the Motley Fool. We try to make it We speak the lingua franca, use English, plain English, and
Right.
talk to people just like ourselves and try to help them understand money. But the other part of it is that we really do try to tell the truth and make people smarter and use humor. And of course, when you're going to take the name The Motley Fool and enter the financial world where people say a fool and his money are soon parted, you better have something special, and you better feel really motivated to own and earn that name over time. Go ahead.